we're going to partner with a great team like you guys, and we're going to start to tell the story. I think the biggest opportunity for Legacy right now is to convey our hearts on why we do what we do, and how we do what we do. And then I think the other piece of it is showing people, like, show them how it's done. We live this life. I'm in the gym 6 days a week, most of the time twice a week. I am eating very balanced meals, and and when I'm cutting for a show, I'm really suffering, but I do it for the purpose of hitting my goal. And so I think just telling the Legacy story is huge, and through media, that's really the only way to convey it. We can have the fanciest flyers, and we can have great human interactions, but unless more folks really see the heart behind what we do, I think we fall into that. They're just like every other hormone replacement clinic. Who's cheaper?
Sure.
What's the best price? And I think that we want to move away from that and really let people know the subject matter experts are here in the room, and we want to tell the story.
Hey everyone. On this episode, we talk with Steven Hoschak from Legacy Health and Wellness. Steven has a very fun and intriguing business, so I'm going to let him share that with you. But what I believe you'll love about this episode is how Steven shares how he overcame every obstacle in his way to fulfill his dreams and aspirations. And he teaches us a great lesson around turning dreams into earned discipline. Check it out. What's up, Steven?
How are you, sir?
Thanks for joining our podcast today,
Absolutely.
man.
Pleasure to be here, man.
All right, Steven, we don't know what you do. I'm sure I did an intro for you here, but I want you to do your own intro.
Absolutely. So we own a faith-based medical clinic that helps people treat their symptoms and really solve problems from their blood. And we start this process by doing full lab draws. We pull a full panel, much more intensive than what you'd normally get at a doctor's office. And we take that lab panel and we work with our team of medical professionals and myself as a nutrition coach to build out a plan for these folks to really get to the root cause of what their issue is. Whereas what we find in typical healthcare is they're treating a symptom, they're putting them on some sort of pharmaceutical. We're able to really get through natural interventions, peptide therapies, hormone replacement, and in some cases, medical weight loss, these people right where they need to be and to be able to live their best life.
So you're helping people learn how to truly gain control of their health by starting with, what is your chemical balance? And then helping them with their diet and exercise plan according to that in many ways. That's the most basic way of putting it. Yeah. And that's a lot for you, because I know that this is not your only hustle. This is not your only business. You're also Mr. Clean.
Yes. I take that job very seriously, by the way.
I saw you in that Super Bowl ad.
Yeah. No, I haven't got any money from that, though. What's up with that?
I mean, come on. How have you not tried to do a side business of being Mr. Clean?
Yeah, I thought
for
about
that brand.
I thought about it. Yeah,
that's just easy
money, right?
You're like,
there.
I'm right here, guys. You don't have to illustrate anymore.
Yes, absolutely. I'll give you some money on the backside if you make that work.
I'll be your Mr. Clean agent.
There you go. That's it.
No, but that's really awesome what you do. I'll just even throw this out there kind of early. Like, naturally, we're in the same B&I group, same office building, so we've known each other and stuff like that. And so I get to hear about clients that have used your services and stuff like that for just, for the blood work in itself. You were able to find someone with like early stages of a tumor. Yes. And you're like inside your blood work before, like what makes your blood work different than like maybe somebody else's?
Yeah, well, I'll say this. I think first I'll say, we have God in everything we do. We founded this business with God in the middle of it. And that's important for us because, we don't make decisions without praying about it. We don't make decisions about really taking the patient, the final result for the patient into consideration. And so for us, we get into that because we study the medical journals. My wife, Sonia, she is the heartbeat of Legacy, and she spends a lot of time really working through the labs with our medical director, Dr. Sam Samurai, to make sure that we come to a solution that makes the most sense for our patients. And so I think we find a lot of these things early because we're not, it's just a couple points high or a couple points too low. No, if it's not in range, we're going to address it. We're going to figure out what's causing that, and we're either going to dial dial it in through peptide therapy, hormone therapy, or we're going to dial it in through nutrition, which, medicine is definitely nature's pharmaceutical. So, there's a lot that we can do for folks that are outside of just what you see at most of these clinics. We are really trying to treat people and give them the best life possible.
What made you want to start doing this? Because this wasn't your first gig. You do something else full time, stuff like that. You have a successful career. Your wife is a nurse.
Yes.
Right. So like, you did not need to do this.
No, absolutely. So Legacy really came to be because, a few years ago, I got into competitive bodybuilding. And prior to that, I've always been very health conscious. My wife has always had a passion in medicine, obviously being a nurse. She was a risk manager at a medical facility prior to this. And then Jamie and Evelyn, our other partners, both have a passion for fitness and wellness. Evelyn also is a competitor. Jamie's a competitor. And so we had used hormone replacement clinics to kind of get through that process and had terrible experiences. We wouldn't get a call back when we would ask questions, very, very generic answers. And I think ultimately it led us to think about there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a way where a patient feels important and they get a true white glove experience when they come in. And so we started to talk about what that would look like and putting pen to paper. And I always joke, we take a Mecca to Cabo every year, just the adults, and we take a few days. And when we went on that trip, we really worked through what is this going to look like? Like if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. We're going to be the best at it. And so we came back, and it was as soon as the wheels hit the ground, we put the plan in place, opened up in Foreign Co. And we started off as a hormone replacement, peptide therapy, medical weight loss, nutritional coaching. And it's grown from that to now doing IV drip therapies. People come to us for everything. They'll go to us before they go to a general practitioner or a regular doctor. We even have the USF School of Medicine that sends some patients over to us that hey, what they're doing is working. So, keep working with them. Cardiologists that refer to us. And I think people are realizing that there is a different way to treat folks. There's a different way to get them to where they need to be without having to put them on, cholesterol medications, high blood pressure medications, things of that nature that hurt the liver, they hurt the kidneys. So it's been an absolute blessing to be able to do this and to be able to help people with Crohn's disease, rheumatoid arthritis, weight loss, patients that are almost at 100 pounds in weight loss already, which is absolutely incredible through really caring and being there and walking beside the patient, because it's not just come in and get the service. We're going to talk to you. We're going to be reaching out to you frequently to make sure that what we're doing is working because we truly care. I think that's the biggest difference.
I was talking with someone last night who, one of your clients who has lost at least 90 pounds. And I was saying, what makes it easy working with Legacy Health and all that? He's like, first of all, getting the blood work really helped. Like it really helped me understand my body. And then the plans that you help provide for the diets and exercise, he's like, it's basic and easy to follow. It's not like, it doesn't make you feel overwhelmed to be doing this. And because it was basic and routine, he went from, let me go to the gym once a week, twice a week. Now he wants to go to the gym 5 times a week and stuff like that. And that was really cool to hear. Because I can't tell you how often I've been demotivated to go to the gym when someone like bodybuilder almost person like yourself is like, this is the right way to do it. I'm like, I don't have time for that. Now you just make it more complicated to where I feel like I'm wasting my time, right. And you don't make people feel that way. So but you guys are way more than weight loss. I want to make sure we don't just talk about weight loss right now. So outside of weight loss, who's coming to you to get services and why?
Yeah. So I would say our patients range from people that they don't have any energy. They have a hard time getting up in the morning. They have that midday crash. We have people that come to us, low libido, people that come to us because they struggle losing weight. Often with women post having a child or they're going through menopause, it's very difficult to lose weight. And a lot of that's hormonal. And so they could be, busting their butts, going to the gym, working out really, really hard, eating very, very clean, seeing very minimal results, while their husband can, cut Coke out of their diet for a week and all of a sudden they lose 10 pounds. Well, often it's hormonal. And so we're able to tackle those things. So we see folks from all ends of the spectrum. We have people that come in when they have a cold. They'll come in and get an IV drip. We'll blast them with some vitamin C. We've got patients who have extremely high inflammation in their bodies or high cortisol from stressful jobs. And again, we'll treat them with IV drips. We'll treat them with the most basic of things, like you said. And I think that's at the core of what we do, the results are very important, but it's simple things that we do. It's simple things that we do to change, and it's all science based. It's all, if you pull this lever, it's going to do this. And so I think that's why it works. I don't want to overload a patient with a ton of information in the beginning. Like, let's make it easy and let's ease into it. And I think more importantly, providing people with the tools to be able to do this the rest of their lives. So, I'm a big believer in you shouldn't have a coach or a trainer for an indefinite amount of time. It should be an agreed upon amount of time, because if you both do the work that you need to do, you're going to get to the result you want to get to.
So you take a very interesting approach of basically saying, I want you to hire us so that you can fire us. Yes. Like, you're working yourself out of a job the moment someone becomes a client of yours.
Correct.
And that doesn't really exist in the medical and the counseling, or really, I can't think of an industry that really works, when for the service you're providing, right? Because you're not saying come in and how to leave.
Right.
It's come in, get to know each other, grow a relationship, and then stop paying me.
Right.
So why do you think that's a good model?
So again, I'll circle back to, we started this with God in the middle, and we believe that he'll give us the direction that we need. And so far, thank you, he has. But what I would say is this: what we found is most of our patients stay with us anyway. They feel so good that they want to continue on the peptide therapies. On the hormone piece, some of those are some kind of indefinite type services, depending on what the situation is. But
sure.
People want to stay with us because they feel that care. And they'll come to us, they'll stay on their therapies, and then when something comes up, they bring another family member in, and that family member comes in. And the reality is, we're not trying to just help a demographic of 35 to 45, or only males or only females. We want to help as many people as we can. We want to show as many people as we can that there's a better way to living your life. I don't know how often you've heard, "Oh, I'm in my 40s, so I expect this to go." Well, no, you've got a long life ahead of you that you can live an active and healthy lifestyle if you do the work that you need to do, and you take care of your body. And so it's almost like standing on top of the mountain. We want to get our message out. Like, we can really help a lot of people. And I think through that, it keeps our business, it has vitality.
Help me understand why this isn't just like you go to your doctor for a routine visit, and then a lot of times they say, "Oh, go get blood work on a regular basis." I'm confused as to what makes you guys different in that. Like, why would this University of Florida be sending people to you rather than the normal process, if you would?
So I think it has a lot to do with the fact that, I'll just say it. I think our healthcare system's broken. Our healthcare system says, okay, you have to do X or do A before you do B. So I'll give, the best example I always give is, you can go to a gym, pull something, tear something, it's muscle or tendon related. You're going to go to the doctor. One, you have to pay a copay to go to that doctor, and that doctor's then going to go, okay, well, we need to send you for an x-ray. Well, you and I can both agree that you don't need an x-ray if you've got a torn tendon or a muscle. You need an MRI. That's what's going to show that damage. But you have to do the x-ray because that's what the healthcare company requires you to do before you get to the next treatment. So we're letting time go by. We're going through multiple copays. Maybe you have a copay for the x-ray. Maybe you have a copay for the MRI. And it's all to get to the same result. Well, this is what's wrong with you, and they're going to have to ultimately get you into surgery. Now, Legacy doesn't do surgery. We don't do any of that. But on our side, if somebody comes to us and they've got elevated cholesterol, they've got a high A1C or high blood glucose, pre-diabetic, they've got high cortisol levels, and they've got a thyroid issue, we're going to do them all. We're not going to send you to a thyroid specialist, or endocrinologist. We're not going to send you to a cardiologist. We're going to do it all for you because we can read the lab work, and we have the tools in our chest to be able to help you move those blood markers. And that's why I mentioned earlier, we're working with cardiologists. We're working with endocrinologists because they see the value in what we do. And I think the good doctors that really do, they understand that it's not always solved by putting somebody on a cholesterol medication or putting them on something to lower their their high sugars with diabetes and things of that nature.
So, help describe a process for me for, like, what would you say are your main clients in a sense? Like obviously someone wanting to lose weight.
Right.
You said also, someone who just had a baby or pregnant or something like that, dealing with some hormonal issues or something. What are some other maybe starting points?
Absolutely. So our patients range from your young professional who wants to be mentally sharp, wants to have the energy to be able to go real hard in the paint, to the I like to say the soccer dad or soccer mom. Everybody that's at that soccer field either wants to be in better shape, wants to maintain the shape they're in. They're all a potential client. And then even our folks that are kind of at the executive level in the businesses that, you know, they've been working hard for a long time and they're starting to lose that energy. They're starting to kind of, you know, not feel that fire that they once did. We're able to help all of those folks and everybody outside and in between of that. But I think it's kind of that range of folks that we're able to treat.
Now, I know this is almost an unfair question because after they get the blood work, everyone has their own path in many ways. But I'm sure you have sort of a like the core, most people when they come in, we're usually seeing these things.
Right.
Like for anyone between their 30s, I would say between 30 and 50 or something like that. Like this is usually the core of what we're seeing. What is usually the process that you take them down after the blood work?
Absolutely. So once we get the blood work back, we actually Sonia, she goes through a full consultation of that blood work. She goes through the lab, she does a lab read with the patient, and they go through everything and they talk about where the blood markers are. You know, we've already got some history on them, and then we go into a deeper history, like what's your diet look like, what's your lifestyle look like, to kind of find out why those markers are off. And then through that, we'll look at an intervention. We'll put a protocol together based on what they've got. Everyone does have an individual protocol. And once we do that protocol, we usually typically convert them into a coaching client. And when they hop into a coaching program with us, we ask a few additional questions, and then we build a plan for them, a very specific plan that they can follow. And then we walk beside them every week. Every week we do a check-in. Every week we have a conversation. How are you feeling? What's your energy level? What's your digestion look like? So we really, really walk beside the client. We don't just go, hey, here's some drugs, have fun. Like we really walk them through that. And that's really where we see the results and how we help them.
Give me an idea of like what these costs.
Yeah, so it ranges. I would say you could be on a treatment for as cheap as $300 every month to all the way up to $1,200-$1,300 a month, depending on what you have. The peptide library is a big one, you know. So peptides, and that could be a whole other conversation we could have. But peptides are things that naturally reoccur in our body, and we have peptides for hair. We have peptides for skin. We have peptides to help you sleep better, to produce more growth hormone in your body. So there's a lot of different things that we can do. And that's why we do such a comprehensive lab panel, because it shows us where your growth hormone level is, where your thyroid function is, your, you know, everything, how everything's working in your body. So it gives us the ability to really help somebody pretty quickly.
How often has someone come to you thinking, I'm totally healthy? Maybe just trying to lose a few pounds. And then,
yeah. Wow. So we've had a few, and it's funny because, you know, we see so many lab panels and so many people. Often in my coaching mind, I'll be like, oh man, okay, this is what I think's gonna come back, you know, and almost always wrong, Yeah. So I don't have like spidey sense for lab work for sure. But what I will say is, you know, we've had people come in that are 6-pack, ripped, great shape, super high cholesterol, ticking time bomb. We've had people come in, again, in great shape, and thyroid functions completely off the charts. Like if we don't get it in line, they're going to have some serious issues. On the flip side, we've had people come in extremely overweight, and some of the best lab work I've ever seen. But there's just one thing wrong, and that's why that person couldn't lose weight. And so, yeah, we see a little bit of everything, and those are the fun cases, right? Because we're able to really, again, provide value. And I think what this all boils down to is, I think most people, if they get lab work done annually, we're lucky. We encourage our patients to do it twice a year. So we're getting ahead of, if you've got cancer building in your body, if you've got something going wrong with your heart or cardiovascular system, we're going to catch it much, much sooner through the interventions we're doing now. And I always tell people, because sometimes they'll say that, well, these therapies are expensive. Well, they are expensive, but they're a lot cheaper than what your healthcare is going to be when you're in your retirement. And I often think of, you know, the old lady or the old man at Walmart checking you out. They're not working there because they're bored. They're working there because they need health insurance. Not to say we don't need health insurance, but I think that if you live a healthier life, it's going to be much cheaper for you in the long run.
What I find really intriguing about what you guys provide is in this multi-billion-dollar business of, health and fitness, right? It's everyone has their own niche, right? Oh man, you got to do the fasting. Oh man, you got to do this diet. Oh man, you got to do this type of exercise. If you just follow this one plan, you'll be fine. And it's like, what I've found is like everything works, but not everything works for you.
Right.
Right. So you're like, stop all the fluff. Let me figure out what you need and go down that road.
Right.
And it seems affordable. I mean, obviously, if you have a lot of things going on, that's where it's going to get kind of expensive, but I think it's going to get expensive either way
Right.
in that situation. I could just think of a friend of mine who he did the exact same plan that I did when I lost a few pounds and stuff like that. He didn't lose anything.
Right.
And he was struggling with it. And I'm like, why did it work for me and not for him? Because I thought I was doing a super simple plan. And that would be the ideal person to go to you in that situation. It's like, figure out why, figure out how. But going back to your past roots of how you began this and stuff like that, you wanted a white glove service. And I'm thinking that's because of your journey. You know, you were someone who, I know this about you, that you were, someone who, while you were health conscious, you were overweight. You wanted to, you had goals in mind to do some certain things, and such as bodybuilding, and
right.
like
crazy.
what made you like think of this because of your journey?
Yeah. So, to your point, I've always been very health conscious. I remember being in high school reading, all the bodybuilding books, and then reading the nutrition books, and really being in all of the stuff. I got a certified personal trainer when I was younger, and through working in corporate America and getting married and having 2 kids, I put on a bunch of weight, and I felt terrible. And I'll never forget, I went to tie my shoes one day, and I was out of breath, and it was just disgusting. Like, is this really where I'm at? And that was where I had to take health into my own hands before I could ever really be beneficial to anybody else in this space. But I had to go through the journey. I lost 100 pounds. It wasn't easy. It was a very challenging thing. And so it led me to care about my health more, understand the value of health. I think everybody worries about, let's put money in retirement. We need to save for the cruise, save for that. Well, where are we investing in our health? Because if we're not here, none of that stuff matters anyway. And that's the one thing that we can control. And so my journey gave me, the tools to be able to effectively coach folks, because when somebody comes in, it's not a judgmental thing, no matter where they're at. It's, I can help you. And this is how I can help you. I can provide value. And I've also realized that what we do, as much as it's lab-based and science-based, there's a human component. And so often when I coach a lot of my clients, it becomes a friendship. It becomes something very close, because I care about them. I want them to win. And so it's not just hey, you didn't lose weight this week, or hey, you lost a bunch of weight. Hey, I'm rooting for you. How are you feeling? Mentally, physically, is there anything that I can do for you? And having those conversations and building a relationship. So for me, it's not only do I love what we do, but it's very personal for me, because I know how I felt at that point, and then I know how I feel now at peak health, that I feel great, and I want everybody that I come across to be able to have that opportunity.
You say it was a lot of work and painful to lose that 100 pounds. Was that because you didn't have help? Was it because you're trying to figure it out all on your own? Like, you were trying things that weren't working, and you needed to find a thing. Like, what was painful about it?
So I think what was painful about it was, we've got YouTube, we've got all of this different social media. There's so much information. Go keto, go low carb, go carnivore, go vegan, vegetarian. And I'll tell you, I've done all of them. I was a vegan for 4 days. God bless you, vegans. Not for me. But what I'll tell you is, because there was so much information, I couldn't disseminate what was true and what wasn't. And so until I really dug into nutrition, and I started to get my certifications, and then meet people like William Grazione from the Educated Dieter, who really poured into me and gave me a good foundation. I didn't realize that, there's some, follow the science, balanced diets, and use some of those tools depending on what the disease may be in the body. But for the most part, it's all about balance. So I had too much information. So yeah, I didn't really have help. I didn't have anybody directing me. And then when I started looking for coaches in the beginning, it was so expensive. It was almost unaffordable to hire somebody. And unless you're extremely wealthy, you're pretty much stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And not to diminish, the folks that work at the gyms, but they're limited in what they can do, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily certified in dietetics and nutrition, and who knows how long they've been actually training folks. And so there's something to be said with the experience as well. So I think that was painful. And then I think the not having that emotional support. Of course, I had my family, I had my friends cheering me on, but to have that person in my corner going, "Hey, I know it was a tough week, but you're going to be okay. Like you're good." So I had to really do a lot of self-motivation. So I think those were the challenges. And then two, switching between diets was tough because I was deprived. I wasn't eating, I was losing weight, but not necessarily the right way. And all this time I could have been eating protein and carbs and vegetables and still achieve the same results, probably a little bit better. So I learned a lot so that I could be good for legacy, and we can make things easier for a lot of other people.
That's exactly what a lot of people need. And so that kind of brings me to my next question about as you build your business and stuff like that. One of the first things you just brought up is how there's so much content out there and everyone has their own kind of way of doing it. You're going to start making some content here soon. And we're excited to work together in doing that. But how are you delivering that? Like, what content are you truly going to make that helps people understand that there's a lot of things out there, but how do we get you? Because you can't tell them this is the right path because your whole thing is get blood work and then I help you with the right path. So how are you going to help present the content to them?
Yeah, so I think, one, we're going to partner with a great team like you guys, and we're going to start to tell the story. I think the biggest opportunity for legacy right now is to convey our hearts on why we do what we do, and how we do what we do. And then I think the other piece of it is showing people, like show them how it's done. We live this life. I'm in the gym 6 days a week, most of the time twice a week. I am eating very balanced meals, and and when I'm cutting for a show, I'm really suffering, but I do it for the purpose of hitting my goal. And so I think just telling the legacy story is huge, and through media, that's really the only way to convey it. We can have the fanciest flyers, and we can have great human interactions, but unless more folks really see the heart behind what we do, I think we fall into that, they're just like every other hormone replacement clinic. Who's cheaper?
Sure.
What's the best price? And I think that we want to move away from that and really let people know the subject matter experts are here in the room, and we want to tell the story.
One of the things that you like to say is we're faith-based. Help me understand why that was a very important brand recognition. It's like we're a faith-based clinic. Like, because in everything you've said, you could be secular or faith-based, so that doesn't really change the service you provide.
Right.
But why are you making sure that everyone understands that you are faith-based? Why is that important to you?
So I've had people ask, is that because you're trying to get Christians to come and work with you guys? No, I do it because I'm going to give God the glory every time. Every time. I'm gonna give him the glory, because without him we wouldn't have this business. And it's as simple as that. That's why I mention as often as I can. I have no fancy answer other than that.
Yeah, like by all means, you're using the science that God has given us. You're using you're not changing things based upon it. You're just trying to make sure that you say, this is any success we have is because of God.
Absolutely.
That's really cool, man. That's really cool. And I'm encouraged that it's not a marketing tool in that sense, cause I know you've told me that before.
Right.
Cause I remember when, making the joke one time of like, are they like, that's what most people do when they're faith-based. Here's our niche, here's our niche client. And you're like, oh, that's not my client, but anyway, I'll glory to him. And I'm like, oh wow. So that's really cool, dude. Yeah. What is your journey like? What has your journey been with God and stuff like that? Like, did you find God in your fitness journey? You've always been kind of Christian.
So, man, this is a good one too. To not give you a super long-winded answer, I lived most of my life without God. My father passed away when I was 12, which was very, very tough. Very blessed with a great mom and a great family, but that was tough. And so I questioned God a lot, as a young man growing up. And I'll never forget, we were about a year away from having my son. Like, my wife and I had just gotten married. We were in a really good spot, with each other. But I just knew that there was something that I was missing in my life. And I was out to lunch with a mentor of mine in banking, And for no reason, well, I guess we know the reason now. He goes, "Hey, do you have a good relationship with God?" And I said, "I not really, but I'm interested," is what I said to him. I remember, and he saved me there at the table at Vallarta's,
Wow.
and ever since then, I just started living life with God. And then when I really started to get involved with my church, and my wife got involved with the church, and like I said, Jamie and Evelyn, our best friends, super involved with the church. We started to see God move in our lives and the people around us, and it was just undeniable. And so, now Sonia runs a faith-based group from home with women, and Jamie and I, we do men's ministry. Jamie and Evelyn do couples ministry. So God's worked in our lives, and I often think, how did I live so long without him? And I'm so blessed to have him standing behind me now. And has it been an easy journey? Absolutely not. But it's been worth every minute. So it's been cool.
Speaking of journeys and being hard and stuff like that, what journey do we enjoy that's always easy?
Yeah, it's true.
And like, I've never heard someone say like, I went through the easiest journey ever, and I look back at it and love it. No, I mean, we always like, I'm not trying to say we like hardships per se, but what is the accomplishment if it was easy?
Yeah, it's true.
And the reason why I'm kind of tying that in, like, my journey with God has not been easy, but it's been extremely fulfilling, and it's helped you accomplish the things you want to accomplish ultimately.
Right.
Same thing with fitness goals and stuff like that. I like how you kind of tie that in together a little bit.
Well, faith and fitness, they parallel. It's all about consistency.
How do you see it that way?
Because if you think about it, if you want a good relationship with God, you got to read the Word. You got to live a God-filled life. You can't just do it half in, half out. Well, faith's the same way. You can't go to the gym for 2 hours and then go home and eat a bag of Doritos. You're not going to get the result. Yeah. So they really do run parallel, and that's why often it's funny, because even as a coach, God comes up. And I can tell you guys, little secret in the bodybuilding world, God comes up a lot, because you're meeting him a lot when you're going through a cut. When you're not when your belly's growling before you go to bed, or you're doing, an hour and 40 cardio in the morning and in the evening, you're talking to God a lot.
It's kind of the whole not giving into temptation kind of thing, is learning a certain discipline in many ways. Is it really that much of a coincidence that we see throughout the Bible all the time that God wants us to fast when we're trying to discipline ourselves to trust him,
right,
in a difficult time?
Yeah,
just saying. I mean, it's cool how you parallel it, man, and I really enjoy that about your brand. So going back to the content, of which I really hope you kind of talk content about your story and that, and I encourage you to. You wanted to work with a great team like ours. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. But why? Like, I'm curious, what drew you guys to the way we make content versus using anybody else, right? There's a lot of fitness people out there, and what makes you guys different? What to you made us different?
Yeah. So, listen, I'm fortunate enough to be in BNI with you every week, and you're a big piece of it, man. I love your personality. I love the energy that you bring to what you do and the passion that you have behind what you do.
Thanks, man.
Being in Foreign Co, I've had the pleasure of getting to meet your team, and they're all good people. And one big thing about Legacy is we want to work with people that are like us, that are driven, and that really want to do good work. And I think, seeing your work in BNI has been incredible. I think the human trafficking video that you showed us just moved me so much to see, like, you could see the passion that you guys had in what you do in that video. And when that translates, it's huge. It's like a Scorsese film, or you just, like, there's a mark on it. And yeah, we could go with any video agency, but I don't think any do it the way that you do it, just like, we are in our space. And so it's a natural fit for us.
And I think one of the things we're going to enjoy working together in is we have the same model, is that you're trying to build a program that says, like, what matters to you, right? For your fitness journey, and to create a consistent flow that makes this journey easier for you. Right. Same thing for us. Like, not everyone should be doing the exact same type of videos. You do need to be doing media content, but what is the right direction with creative media content? So we first focus on the direction, then we create a consistent program. Right. You haven't been creating media on a consistent basis. Right. So that's exactly what you're investing into. And so I think that it's funny, like, literally the last 2 episodes we've made, and now this third one, the key word has been consistency, and we've used it in other episodes. And I hope that the businesses start seeing this way. And when it comes to life goals, business goals, anything, to accomplish something, to truly do that, it's discipline, and it's done. And the only way to really discipline yourself is to grow some kind of consistent manner,
Absolutely.
right? If you think of the best athlete, anyone will talk about them. They have a consistency to them and stuff like that. Something that you said the other day, something about balancing motivation and discipline. Can you talk about that for a second?
Yeah. So, it's a big thing that I focus on a lot is, people go, I'm really motivated to do this. And every time I hear that, I go, that's awesome. What happens when that expires? And they look at me like I have three heads. But the reality is, motivation is the ember that starts the fire, but discipline are the logs that we keep putting in the fire to keep it going. And so it's, I think having motivation's great, but having unwavering discipline is what's going to get you anywhere you want to go. It's the little things that you do every day that really add up to the big successes. And it's really, really enjoying being uncomfortable, because a lot of life's going to be uncomfortable, but it's going to lead to some great successes in life. And so, I just, anytime that I get asked that question, it's like a soapbox, because you've got to use them both in tandem, but know that discipline's the one that's going to have to last the longest. So when you're approaching a weight loss goal, you want to start a business, you're having troubles in your business, that great idea, awesome. You're going to be motivated for a while, but then you got to build out the CRM, right? Or, you've got to go meal prep, the things that aren't as sexy you have to do, but those are the things that lead to the success ultimately.
Can you be disciplined without being motivated?
Most of the time, the most successful people I know are not motivated. They're just disciplined. They're willing to do the work. We're fortunate enough to know a lot of entrepreneurs that are on the beginning stages of their journey. I think we can all agree that there's months where it's like, I don't want to do this. You're one step away from, I want to grow this thing and make it the biggest thing in the world, to I'll close the doors and go work at Burger King right now because I'm so tired of this. So I think it's discipline's important, man. And that's, I was talking to Philippe Lundstad the other day, and he mentioned something funny when he said, somebody had told him, man, I just want to be a business owner so that I can work my own hours and make my own schedule. And we both laughed as soon as he said it, because if you're an entrepreneur, that means you're working all the time, because every problem is your problem. And so discipline is where I think the most successful people operate from the most.
And I would also say that if you're lacking in motivation, but you're able to be disciplined, discipline builds motivation.
It does. It does.
How can someone hire you, Steven?
Absolutely. So obviously you can go to legacyhealthtampa.com. We have social media on Facebook and Instagram. And of course you could call us at the office. We do in-house lab draws. We can help do lab draws at LabCorp. And soon we're going to be going to 48 states, being able to offer our services. So we'll be able to do a lot of this over the phone and via telemed. So very, very excited about that.
That's incredible. Yep. Awesome, man. Hey, I know it's coffee cups, but cheers.
Cheers. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you're looking to craft your message better, I want to encourage you to look into creating these two videos, a promo video and a brand film. Your promo video will easily tell your target audience who you are and what you do in a concise, entertaining, and engaging way. This is a great way for you to introduce yourself to a prospect or the main video you'll want to have on the homepage of your website. Meanwhile, the brand film is the video that not only shares who you are and what you do, but why you are passionate about it. Every business should be solving a problem for their target audience. So why do you love solving this specific problem? This is a great video to have on the About page of your website, and it also works really well to close deals. It helps your customers know why you are the brand that they should be working with. Naturally, if you need help getting those videos done, please reach out to us at paper-jacket.com. We'll see you in a few weeks.